There is a book called Tripura Rahasyam. Rahasyam. Tripura Rahasyam means the secret of the three states, waking, dream and sleep. The secret is, there are three but it is oneness. Haji? Tripura Rahasyam. There is a book called Tripura Rahasyam. The secret of three cities. Pura. It's any state. Anything that is filled up by the truth is Puram. In Vedanta. Puryate iti Puram. This body also is Puri. Navadvehe pure de. Navadvare pure dehe. Naiva kurvan nakarya. City. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Vedveshavahai. Om Shantish Shanti Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpada Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritav Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. We have to do the third chapter, Tritiya Adhyaye Prathamah Padaha. Tadantara Pratipattau Brahmati Samparishvaktaha Prashna Nirupanabhyam. Tritiya Adhyaya is called, first Adhyaya is called Samanvaya Adhyaya. It is all just showing the unanimity of all the Vedantic statements. Samanvaya means there is only one topic called Atma is Brahman. In the matter of the self being a Brahman, there is synonymity. There is synonymous. In the matter of Atma being Brahman, all the Vedanta Vakyas tally. Showing this point is what is called Samanvaya. Samanvaya means consensus. Samanvaya means consensus. Not a brought about agreement, the agreement that is there. They all have the same topic in them. All Vakyas have the same Tatparyam. The Tatparyam of Atma being Brahman, the Nirvishesham. Atma being Satyam and Jagat being Mithya. In this matter, all the Vedanta Vakyas have consensus. And second Adhyaya is called Avirodha Adhyaya. How nice. You remember, ji? Avirodhadhyaya. Meaning irrefutability. There is no virodha between Vedanta and various other schools. Why? Because Vedanta is talking about what is and what is self-evident. Whereas the various schools of thought, they're all imagined. They don't talk about what is. Therefore, there is no virodha. If they also quote Vedanta and say something else, that is called virodha. But they don't accept Shabda as a pramanam. The first Adhyaya handles the internal jhagade. The internal jhagade hote hai na. Shastra ke andar hi there are some jhagade. Those jhagade are resolved by the first Adhyaya, Samanvaya Adhyaya. Second Adhyaya dismisses every school of thought, especially the Indian schools of thought like Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaiseshika, Charvaka, Shunyavadis, etc. Because they don't accept Shabda, the Shruti, as Pramanam. They accept only logic as the Pramanam. And between logic and Vedanta there is no virodha. Right logic is used as a handmaid to understand the Shruti. Logic is not parallel to the evidence. Logic is meant to understand what is evident. Logic cannot postulate a fact. As long as logic is used to postulate a fact, as long as it is used to postulate a fact, it's faulty. Because logic's purpose is to use it to understand what is evident. Sense evident or self-evident, but it should be already evident. But most of the schools of thought used logic to postulate, to assume the nature of the truth. Therefore, one is a speculation, the other is a Shabda Pramana. Between speculation and Shastra, there is no virodha, there is no conflict. There is no relationship, bas. I would like to translate this word Avirodha Adhyaya as it is an Adhyaya that analyzes the various schools and tells that what Shruti says is irrefutable by them. And if you take one step ahead, there is no conflict between eyes and ears. They are two different pramanas. Similarly, Shabda is a different pramana. Pratyaksha based tarka is a different pramanam. Between these two, there is no conflict. But tarka, anubhava based tarka, not pratyaksha based tarka, but anubhava based tarka is used to unfold what Shastra says. In that sense, that avirodha can be interpreted to mean no conflict between speculation and Shastra. No conflict between logic and Shastra. No conflict between logic and Shastra. Why? Because logic, pratyaksha based tarka, is meant to infer pratyaksha things. But the anubhava based tarka, between anubhava based tarka and Shastram, there is no conflict, because one is the facilitator, the other is facilitated to be understood. The vision of the Shastra is independent of even anubhava based tarka. The factuality of the fact is independent. It's not, adhyasa doesn't stand on tarka. Adhyasa doesn't stand on tarka. Therefore, it's neither adhyasa is tarka based, nor the existence of the vastu is tarka based. Then, therefore, between anubhava based tarka and the Atma, there is no conflict. Between pratyaksha based tarka and Atma, what Shabda says, there is no conflict. Because that is a different pramana, this is different pramana. The tarka that is used by the Shastra to unfold itself, to convey itself, between that anubhava based tarka and the Shastram, there is no conflict. One is the facilitator, upaya, the other is the topic. Between upaya and upeya, there is no conflict. And if the pratyaksha based tarka is used by the schools of thought to speculate about the truth, between that speculation and Shabda also there is no conflict. There is no relevance at all, there is no connection. One is a speculation, the other is evident. Just as between the unevident and the evident, there is no conflict. There is no conflict because one is mithya, the other is satyam. Between the satyam and the mithya, there is no conflict. Is prakar you can interpret the meaning of the word avirodha as free from conflict of any kind between Shabda and the entire human thinking. There is no conflict. Why there is no conflict between human thinking and what the Shastra says? Because Shastra can refute everything. One is mithya, the other is satyam. One is evident, self-evident, the other is unevident. All that man thinks is unevident. Whereas what Shastra says alone is self-evident. Between the self-evident and the unevident, what conflict can there be? One is satyam, the other is mithya. In that way, you can interpret the meaning of the word avirodha adhyaya. The second adhyaya is meant to show that there is no mitrata or shatruta between Vedanta and the rest. Just as Bhagavan says, मुझे तो ना कोई मित्र है, ना कोई शत्रु है. I think the Shabda which conveys the nature of the truth conforms to the nature of the truth. Yes. It conforms to the nature of the truth. How? Because it doesn't agree with any pramana, nor does it disagree. They are two different things. Between satyam and mithya. Between the Rajju and Sarpa there is no conflict. One is satyam, the other is mithya. When we look upon the mithya as another parallel fact, then it creates a sense of conflict. It's not a parallel fact. The pratyaksha is not parallel to the non-dual. What a school of thought speculates is not parallel to the non-dual. It is just another thought about. Between thought and the truth, there is no conflict. It is satyamitya bhava. In this manner, you can interpret avirodha adhyaya to mean that there is no conflict. There is neither agreement nor disagreement. If you say there is agreement, then it can turn out to be disagreement also. Where there is neither agreement nor disagreement, there is no conflict. Between the eyes and ears, there is no mitrata, there is no shatruta. There is no friendship, there is no enmity. Usme shanti hai. Yes. Now what about the Tritiya Adhyaya? The third Adhyaya is all about Sadhana Adhyaya. The various things that man has to do to make himself little peaceful. He calls it as Sadhana Adhyaya, but otherwise talks a lot of upasanas. Because every upasana is considered to be a sadhana. Every prayer is a sadhana. Every mental meditation is, mental prayer is sadhana. Why is it a sadhana? Because it makes you relatively peaceful. Any meditation, any thinking related to the divinity makes you peaceful. That is the fundamental principle. I don't have to believe divinity. Divinity must be understood as evident, because the pratyaksha is evident. When the universe is evident, and the evident universe is a form, it is evident to me. Therefore, the source, the form must have a source. That is a laukika tarkaji. Like a ghata must have a source. And this universe itself is a form. And the substance of the physical form is not physical. The substance of a physical pot is physical. The substance of a physical wave is physical water. But the substance of the physical universe is not physical. It's non-physical. In that matter, Shabda is the pramana. But anyway, the Laukika Tarka tells me, just as a physical pot has physical form of a pot must have some substance, physical or non-physical, that's immaterial. There is a substance. Similarly, the universe, the form must have a substance. And that substance cannot exclude my being. Therefore, it should be the divinity is within my being. Thus, when you do upasana in relation to the source, any thinking related to the source of the universe is spirituality. Any thinking related to the source, prayer related to the source, but it should be understood that it is the source. It's not seated somewhere in heaven. Then it becomes a speculation. As an individual seated in heaven, as an individual seated in Vaikuntha, as an individual seated in Kailasha, that's again a form. Therefore, the source of all the forms, human forms, animal forms, elemental forms, elements forms, and the forms of all the speculated divinity, the source of all the perceived forms, speculated forms, imagined forms, that source. Just as the pratyaksha presents to me, my speculations present to me, my imaginations present to me. Anything that presents to me is a form. A great logic, ji. A very, very great logic. Anything that is presented is a form, and a form must have a substance. And that substance is called the divinity. And therefore any prayer, any upasana, any meditation, anything that you do in relation, and then any thinking that you do in relation to that divinity as the source is what is called sadhana. Is called sadhana, is called the upasana. It is spiritual. So the third adhyaya is called sadhana adhyaya. The fourth adhyaya is called phala adhyaya. Phala. What is the fruit of knowledge? What does man get out of it? It's called phala adhyaya. In this manner we have four adhyayas. Samanvaya adhyaya, avirodha adhyaya, sadhana adhyaya, and phala adhyaya. In the sadhana adhyaya, the first sutra is tadantara pratipattau ramhati. And in the Tritiya Adhyaya there are various upasanas which create vairagyam. Which create vairagyam. It's also sadhana. Tad antara pratipattav, abiding. See, when there is adhyasa, dehoham is adhyasa ji. When dehoham is adhyasa, until it is corrected, it's not going to go. Therefore, when I die, when I am reborn again enveloped by the elements. The body is called elements. Samparishvaktaha is a Sanskrit term. But the Sanskrit term has to be understood as enveloped, equated with. So the truth is as though enveloped by the physical elements. And therefore when I travel, I am not going to give up those elements. I travel enveloped by the subtle elements. When I am manifest, I am enveloped by the physical elements. When I die and travel, I am enveloped by the subtle elements. But then to understand all these things comfortably, see, these things should not make you feel uncomfortable. Where is the travel, etc. It is told at travel, but it is, because truth can never move. I close my eyes on the earth, I may open my eyes in the heaven. And in between, the Shruti calls it travel. It's a travel without motion. So when I open my eyes in heaven, there again I am enveloped with the elements. When I die, I am enveloped with the elements. And I die, I am still enveloped by the subtle elements. And when I open my eyes, I am still enveloped by the physical elements and the subtle elements. But nobody experiences travel. If minus the body, there is no travel. Like you travel to the deep sleep state. But you don't really make a movement. You just move. You don't travel. You just close your eyes and fall asleep. You transcend time. And again you open your eyes. Now, just as between the sleep and the waking state there is no motion, between sleep and the dream there is no motion, between the waking and the deep sleep state there is no motion. That means motion, movement on our part. Even in the waking state there is no motion. If you look at yourself closely, you are aware of the motion of the body. When you go to America, you watch the motion of the movement of the plane. You watch the movement of the body. And the one who sees the movement doesn't move. Therefore, there is no evidence of the movement on the part of our existence. There is no evidence of movement on the part of our existence. There is evidence of movement on the part of the body. There is evidence in the movement of the mind. When you think of America from here, the mind has moved there. It's a kind of a movement. When you move from, your attention moves from one object to another object. It's a kind of mental movement. It is a thought movement. And the more fundamental movement is, it has a beginning and an end. That I have already explained. But I watch, I am the witness, I see the movement of the thought. I see the movement of the body. I see the movement, I see the beginning and end of the thought also. Therefore, as the Sakshi of the movement, our existence has no movement. With the body on, our existence has no movement. How can there be any movement minus the body? Therefore, the Shruti, when it calls it to travel, it is called travel. Like it is called Srishti, but there is no evidence of somebody creating it. It is a perception. Dream is called creation, but it is perception. Shruti calls it creation, but it is perception. In the same manner, Shruti calls it to travel, because I open my eyes somewhere else. And because there is a spatial distance between where I open my eyes and where I close my eyes and where I open my eyes, between these 2 points there is a spatial distance, and therefore one calls it as travel. It's called a travel. तो क्या हुआ जी? If it is a travel, but then it is without movement. Like here it also we say it is creation without change. It's a creation but without causation. Similarly, it is a travel from one body to another body. It is a travel which is not a process. I travel to the deep sleep state, which is not a process. I wake up from the deep sleep state into the waking, which is not a process. Therefore, Vedanta calls it a travel. But a student of Vedanta must be brilliant to understand. These are not really ambiguity creating interpretations. It doesn't mean any travel, motion. Because the Shruti itself says it is something na ganta na aganta. It doesn't go, it doesn't come. Kutastha. So if the self is kutastha, how can it move? Therefore, because I close my eyes here and open my eyes there, it is called a travel. But as a person with adhyasa, with a mistake that I am the form, there is a mistake that I am the form. And this mistake can also be described like this, that I am enveloped by the elements. I am enveloped by the physical sheath. I am enveloped by the thought. I am enveloped by breath, as it were. I am conditioned by them, enclosed by them. Similarly, until I understand the truth, I continue to feel enclosed. And this feeling that I am enclosed, I am confined by the elements, physical and subtle, gross and subtle, is what is called samparishvakta. Tadantara pratipattau. Tadantara pratipattau means remaining there. Ramhati, remaining within the elements. Ramhati gacchati, goes. The jiva travels. Remaining in the elements, travels. Remaining in the under the spell of the adhyasa, travels. Samparishvaktaha, being enveloped by the elements. Prashna nirupanabhyam, enveloped by, even though it is said in the Shruti, enveloped by water, but water element is an upalakshanam for, to begin with, the three elements, because water has its source in the fire, its effect in the earth element. Therefore, water has an element of fire in it and an element of a degree of earth in it. Therefore, to begin with, it stands for the three elements. And Trivrit Karanam is an upalakshanam for Panchi Karanam. Therefore, three elements stand for five elements. So you have to really jump like this. Water, enveloped by water, the jiva travels. Oh my God, when the Shruti says enveloped by the water, the jiva travels, man becomes wild in imagination. Shruti says what is important there is, until jnanam is there, the rebirth is assured. The error continues in some form or the other until it is correction. The error continues in some form or the other. The error doesn't have a form, and every form is an error. I may see it as a snake in this life. I may see it as a garland in the next life. I may see it as a stick in the next life. But it's something else. I am seeing the rope for what it is not. And what it is not, it could be anything. Therefore, when I make a mistake that rope is a snake, and after some time I may see it as garland, because the error continues. The truth remains ununderstood. Therefore, when the Shastra says, Atma enveloped by the elements travels, human beings go wild in their imagination. How does it get enveloped by water? I say, water is not a substance, it is also a perception. So you have to do the spade work to digest that statement. All elements which are solid looking elements are perceptions. Dream objects look also very solid, but they are also perceptions. So enveloped by water means what? Under the spell of the perception that I am a body, man travels. How does it travel? He closes his eyes here and opens eyes somewhere else. And both the points of space are seen. They are two different lokas. And the Shruti calls it travel. Just as even though the self doesn't travel to America, but we say he has gone to America. Considering him to be the body, he has gone to America. But otherwise he doesn't travel. Because he is the witness of India, he is the seer of India, is the seer of America, and seer of the distance, and the seer of the motion of the body, the seer of the motion of the plane. He is the seer. As the seer, he is not qualified by the seen. And every movement is seen. It can never be an attribute of the seer. If it can never be an attribute of the seer, then why take the seer to be mobile? But somehow or other, even though I logically think, and I hear a lot of unfoldments, a lot of emphasis done by the Shruti, but yet ultimately, like a dog's tail, I come back to myself. That is saying, फिर भी तो होता है. That फिर भी will always be there. Ji. And there is a small joke. The cook asked the Malik, Malik जी, मैंने खीर बनाया कैसा है? अब बोला अभी खाया नहीं है, तो फिर भी this फिर भी is like this, फिर भी. Atma doesn't move, फिर भी it moves. But still that problem is there, Ji. Why? Because man, he is used to his own kind of thinking. Man is used to his own kind of thinking. When he is used to his own kind of thinking, even though he listens to the Shastra, but he doesn't look at himself very clearly. He doesn't wonder, my God, the seer of the movement cannot move. If the seer also moves, then he can't see the movement. The seer of the movement has to be still. The hearer of the sound has to be silent. The seer of the form has to be formless. The seer of a relationship should be nirvisesha. Please. And therefore, tadantara pratipattau ramhati samparishvakta prashna nirupanabhyam. In the Sutra, in the Shruti, there is a dialogue between Svetaketu Vetha yatha pancha panchasyam ahu. In the Chandogya Shruti, fifth Prakaranam, in Chandogya Shruti, in the fifth Prakaranam, so fifth Adhyaya, it has got 8 Adhyayas, Chandogya Shruti. But in the 5th Adhyaya, Mahavakya comes in the 6th Adhyaya. There is a discussion between Shvetaketu and his teacher. Through the questions he raises and through the answers he is given, one can say that Jiva continues to travel until he grows to understand the truth. The truth has to wander. Notionally, of course, the truth has to notionally wander, meaning the truth has to continue to feel the bhranti about itself until it understands that it is the truth. But the bhranti doesn't qualify the truth. The truth remains. Like even though 10th man wanders in the world, but he continues to be the 10th man. His nature is not affected. The fact is not affected by the illusions about it. And therefore, a jiva continues to take form until he understands that he is not qualified by elements. And between elements and the truth, there is no conflict. There is no virodha. There is a satya mithya bhava. Which bhava means oneness. Satya mithya bhava means oneness. There is no other. Between the water and the wave, there is no conflict. For the conflict to be, there have to be two parallel realities. There can be a conflict between Sankhya and Vaiseshika, because both are speculations, two differing speculations. There can be a conflict because there is no Satyamithya bhava between the two. Whereas between what Vedanta says and a speculation, there is a Satyamithya bhava. Therefore, there is no conflict. One is the Satyam, the other is a thought, like any other thought. Between truth and thought, there is no conflict. Why? They are not two parallel realities. Between wave and wave, there can be a conflict. But between wave and water, no conflict. And therefore, jiva continues to travel until he understands the truth. Therefore, life is not so simplistic that you are born and then you die and that's over. Aisa nahi. Just as having transcended the body, having transcended the time, you come back to time, you come back to the form. In the same manner, having transcended the body and the thought and time and death, you can come back to it. I say you come back to the form, not a particular form. Form. Because the formless is seen as form, that is adhyasa. The formless is seen as form. Don't say a given form. A given form is there in a given life. If you look at life as a given life, then there is a given form, a given mind, a given set of senses, etc. In the next life, what do you take? Another given life. But fundamentally, the truth is mistaken for a form. Whether it is this form or that form, it's form. This set of senses, that set of senses. It is senses. This mind or next mind, it is mind, thought. And as the truth is misunderstood as a form, I begin life, next life again. And then whatever I might have lived my past life, it leaves behind some sanskara, some basic most fundamental impression which guides my present thinking. The past influences my present thinking. What influences my present thinking is my past thinking. There is nothing else really. Even if you have to influence my thinking, then your thinking has to become my thinking. Unless your thinking becomes my thinking, a ghost can really influence me only when I have belief in ghost. Only when I think, my God, it is influencing. My God, it is frightening me. I have to succumb to certain imaginations. If I don't succumb, then nothing. And therefore, through the questions and answers we receive in the 5th chapter of Chandogya Shruti, it becomes clear that the jiva does not end until jivatvam is an erroneous situation. Individual embodiment is an erroneous situation. This can continue until it is corrected. And if it is not corrected, it can continue. How it can continue? It can continue in another form. But anyway, error doesn't have a form. Every form is an error. That is also important. The error has no form. My mistake. I find myself with it. But anyway, every given form is form. Form in general. It doesn't matter whether I take this form or that form or that form. कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है, because any form is an error about the truth. Therefore, the error about the truth continues until it's corrected. Therefore, travel is a must. Therefore, life doesn't end there. Life continues. Next sutra ji. Triyatmakatvat bhuyastvat Triyatmakatvat. See, why do you say that Atma enveloped by water it travels? I say enveloped by water it travels means enveloped by 3 elements it travels. Enveloped by 3 elements it travels means it continues to have the upadhi, the error. It is enveloped by the 3 elements. And a better way of saying is, it continues, the error continues until, as long as it's not corrected. And the error is always in the form of, the error is about the truth, and it is in the form of the elements. You don't mistake the truth for something else. You mistake that something else is what is called the element. Enveloped by the water means enveloped by 3 elements. Enveloped by the 3 elements, the next jump is enveloped by 5 elements. And the next jump is enveloped by the 5 elements means equated with the 5 elements. Equated with the 5 elements means equated with the form. You may say subtle form, but still it is a form. Equated with the embodiment, the thought that I am the form. You may shuttle the form, you may discard the form, but you don't discard the error that I am the form. Discarding the error is different, correcting the error is different. I may discard the form, I may discard the snake, but that's not really correcting the snake. Discarding the snake is not discarding the error. Therefore, I discard the body but I continue to be in avidya and open my eyes in another form. And therefore, enveloped by water, jiva travels. Meaning, enveloped by 3 elements, jiva travels. Meaning, enveloped by 5 elements, it travels. Meaning what? Envelope equated with the form, he travels. Meaning what? Within avidya, he closes his eyes here and opens his eyes elsewhere. Bhuyastvat. Because it is called water because water is between fire element and earth element. It is made of the fire element and it results in earth element. It has a cause in it. The fire element, a degree of it is in it. And a degree of the earth element also is in it. So what is in between is mentioned. It so happened. And therefore, water element means the 3 elements. But why it is called water? Bhuyastvat. Because half of the water element is water, and then 1/8 of it, 1/8 is earth. All the rest of the 4 elements make the half. Half of water is nothing but water. Therefore, predominantly it is water. Predominantly water. And 50% water, 12.5% is the earth, 12.5% is fire, 12.5% is air, and 12.5% is space. It becomes 100%. Whereas 50% is itself. And in that way, bhuyastvam means predominance. The water is referred to as water because it is predominantly water element. But it is an upalakshanam for 3 elements. 3 elements are upalakshanam for 5 elements. In this manner, one has to understand a travel. Otherwise, it's not easy. A human individual can never make sense out of this travel. He will always say, what is this travel? It is a travel involving no process. It is a travel involving no movement. It is a srishti involving no movement, no process, no change. It is a travel, it is a yatra. Even in a waking state, when you go on yatra, Atma is not traveling. The body is traveling. Atma is only seeing the body's travel. The one who sees the rise of sun also doesn't rise. The one who sees the setting sun doesn't set. He is eternal, The drashta is eternal. Therefore, aramse in life, try to understand this fact. Your existence as the seer is eternal. Therefore, Pranagatescha there is a mention in the Shruti that all the faculties also travel. Faculties travel means the faculties having left this body, when you wake up in another form, you also wake up along with the faculties. Along with the faculties. The body is discarded, the faculties travel. The body is discarded, the avidya travels. The avidya continues. The body is discarded, jiva continues. The continuity of the jiva is described as travel. Jiva doesn't die. And for this, in Chandogya Shruti, an example is given. Shakha mriyate natu vriksha. You cut a branch, that branch dies, the tree doesn't die. The branch dies, but not the tree. Tree doesn't die. Tree has life in it. It can again branch forth. It can have another branch. Similarly, Atma, one body goes, it's like losing one branch. But the root is there, the jiva is there, the eternal being is there in the realm of avidya. Therefore, he continues to travel and take another form. A branch dries, a branch dies, vriksha continues. A body dies, the jiva continues. The faculties continue. Just as when I wake up from sleep, my faculties come back. Here the same faculties come back. The same form comes back here. I put on the same faculties and the same form and the memories. Everything is repeated here. In this life, when I wake up from sleep, I put on the same body, the same faculties, and the same mind, etc. In death, I put on the faculties, I put on a form. There is no difference between one form and another form. Both are forms. There is no difference between the previous life's sight and this life's sight. Sight is sight. There is no difference between Dehoham error in the previous life and Dehoham error in the present life. Therefore, between one life and another life, there is no difference. It's the same thing, the same jiva. And in every life, you have to abide by the law of karma. The jiva has to abide by the law of karma. Whatever karma he has done, he has to get the results. So in this life he has to abide by the law of karma. In the next life also he has to abide by the law of karma. Therefore, just as between one day and the next day there is no difference. Similarly, in this today I am an individual, next day also I am an individual. I lose so many memories of the past, but I am an individual. Memory plays no role in individuality, please. This is a big problem. There are many social philosophers who always say, after all, what are you without memory? Therefore, memory is individual. Aisa nahi. Even without, you don't remember so many things, but your sense of individuality continues. Suppose suddenly I lose my memory. From present time onwards I have. It's a blackout. Till this morning 6 o'clock, the previous is all blackout. Okay. Now onwards there is memory. Okay? Remember this. Till 6 a.m. in the morning it's a blackout. And now there is memory onwards. Now onwards. I may not remember my past, but my sense of individuality continues. And therefore, I may have a new name, I may not remember my name, I may not remember my parents, I may not remember my yesterday's life, but from today onwards there is memory, there is a sense of individuality. Similarly, in the next life, the entire memory of the past is gone, but the memory continues from that life. The sense of individuality is there, and therefore, memory does not dictate jivatvam. Jivatvam is an error about the truth. Therefore, the social philosophers who play on memory to say to you that your whole life is nothing but memory it sounds very great, but that's not true. Jiva, in sense of embodiment, is an error about the truth. It is not based on memory. Memory is a product of adhyasa. Embodiment is not the result of memory, but memory itself is the result of embodiment. In this manner, pranagatescha, the faculties also travel. Jiva travels, body is discarded, a new form is formed, a new body comes. A new body also is a body. These particulars you transcend. If you understand these particulars are nothing, form in general, the truth is understood as a form. Not this form or that form. Form. Truth is mistaken for the senses, not this set of senses. So, sight, ear, taste, touch, smell, the five senses. Thought is mistaken for a thinker. There is no specific thinker. Thinkerness. Therefore, it's a continuity of the jivatvam. In this life, I am a jiva. Next life also I continue to be a jiva. Therefore, individuality continues until it is corrected. Until jivatvam is corrected, it continues. You can't do anything about it. Nothing, Swamiji, nothing. You have to live like an individual. And therefore, travel is without motion. The travel of the senses also need not be, it's not again with the motion. Unmanifest here, manifest somewhere else. Close your eyes here, open your eyes somewhere else. Close your eyes to the waking and open your eyes to the waking. Between the waking state and the deep sleep state, there is no motion. Similarly, between this life and the next life, there is no motion. And yet the Shruti calls it travel. Therefore, travel must be understood without motion. Similarly, Srishti must be understood without change. Similarly, life should be understood without causation. Life should be understood. Even the idea of birth is a part of life, and life is embodiment. Within the embodiment, you entertain the thought, I am born. But when you go to the deep sleep state, there is no thought of birth or death. In this manner, the topic is very profound, If we can hear, it's great. We'll continue it later on. Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti Shanti.